This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
Not only have we officially survived the 2025 NFL offseason, but also the first game of the year is somehow only 2 days away between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So the season snuck up real fast. It is time to dive into week number 1. We're going to do a breakdown of all 16 games on the week 1 NFL schedule, a show we started doing last year. We go game by game. I'll discuss what my spread and total model says for each game, what it compares to the market, and whether I'm going to make a bet based on those numbers as things stand. So a lot to do for today, going game by game through all 16 games to kick off the 2025 NFL season. Let's get it all started. Welcome on into Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, here to go game by game through NFL Week 1, break down my favorite bets of the week at FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll dive into the first game, Eagles versus Cowboys, in just 1 second. But first, a reminder to make sure you're subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcast, because we are back to shows every single weekday here on the feed. Going to do the game-by-game breakdown Tuesdays, college football on Wednesdays, NFL best bets, breaking down the best games on Thursdays, and NFL player props on Fridays as well. To get all those shows as they are posted, make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts, and also leave us a 5-star rating and review if you like what you hear. And just like last year, we are on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page every single day. Also have our NFL DFS show on Thursdays. That won't be live at noon Eastern on Thursdays on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. So Covering the Spread plus Heat Check on the exact same page. Subscribe to the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page and leave us a thumbs up if you're watching over there as well. FanDuel is giving you a reason to lock into the college football and NFL season early. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's right. Bet $5 on any bet, and if you win, you'll walk away with $300 in bonus bets all to use all over the app. You can use those bonus bets on week 1 lines, futures, etc., whatever you got circled on your calendar for the football season. FanDuel is easy to use, safe, and when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around, no hassle, just straight into your account. So if you've got a team, a take, or a gut feeling before kickoff, now's the time to back it. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's take a look now at the first game of the week. That is the Cowboys at the Eagles season opener. First game for the Cowboys with no Micah Parsons. And the spread at FanDuel Sportsbook in this game, 7.5. I am right in line with that at 7.7, so no lean for me there. And totals at 47.5. I've got this one personally up at 50 flat. Now, that says I am showing value in the over for this game between the Cowboys and the Eagles, which brings us to our first disclaimer of the podcast for this year. I am high on every total for this week, basically. And I've tried to backtrack and figure out why this is the case. Like, I don't see any value in unders. I'm not far enough below market on an under to actually take it for any single game this entire week. So the first question is, am I wrong? Because I don't want to bet a bunch of overs this week and suddenly lose all my money. That'd be not super enjoyable from an experience perspective. I looked back at past years and how my model has performed in week 1 specifically, and also seeing like, hey, do I tend to over project week 1 relative to what we actually see on the field? And honestly, I didn't see that to be the case. I've had a total model for week 1 in 2023 and 2024. So only 2 years of data, which means we're looking at just 16 total games, 32 total games across that span. So we're looking at pretty small samples here. But In week one specifically, my model was in line with the market, both in 2023 and 2024. And I did make a profit in week one specifically. So I don't think there is some like systemic thing that leads to unders in week one specifically. So that's kind of one concern off the table for me. And that's kind of reassuring. I'm not really sure why I'm showing overs as being values here. I think it could be due to the fact that most teams actually have a somewhat settled quarterback situation. There are only a couple teams where it's a true disaster at quarterback. And frankly, I'm showing value in the over for one of those games. So maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why I'm seeing value in a lot of overs is we have a lot of health at quarterback. The market is higher this year than usual. The average total is around 45.5 points. I'm at 47. So pretty far above. So basically, what I want to do to account for the fact that I am running hot on all totals for this week and seeing value in a lot of overs, I want to be a bit pickier and bet overs in games where I am furthest above market to be like, okay, if there are systemic issues that are leading to my model being too hot as far as totals for this week, I can potentially navigate around that by betting the ones that are just the furthest away from the market. Philadelphia, Dallas is not that. I'm about 2.5 points above market there. So I think what I'll do is ignore the value here. It does help that 47 is a key number. So it's like, okay, you need to get over 47.5 in order for this bet to hit. So I'm going to wind up sitting this one out and ignoring the value I show in the over here. So no bet for me. Cowboys versus Eagles. I can sit back and enjoy the first game of the year. Do like potentially a Jalen Hurts touchdown in that game as a way to take advantage of the value I'm showing the over. Got an anytime touchdown model I'm running out for week one this year. Worked on this offseason, so excited to debut that. But as far as the spread and the total, no play for me. Cowboys versus Eagles. The Friday game down in Sao Paulo is the Chiefs taking on the Chargers right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Chiefs favored by 3. Total in this game is at 45.5. And the spread, the 3, I think is pretty fair. I've got the Chiefs favored by 4.3 here personally, so not big enough for me to act on that. And I got the total at 48.5. So this one is 3 points up versus the market. I did take this one personally because I do think there's enough value in the over to go this way. Again, I think the Chiefs could be a bit more aggressive through the air this year. They got Holly Brown healthy. I know there's no Rashee Rice, but that was true last year too. And we saw Holly Brown healthy. They actually did play some pretty good offense. So I think we'll see a good Chiefs offense here. No Rashawn Slater for the Chargers definitely does ding them as far as this being a high scoring game. But the Chargers, to their credit, I think were actually a bit more aggressive as far as their run pass ratio last year than what I thought they'd be in their first year with Greg Roman. So I'm going to be high in this game. The stadium, the way it's constructed, I do worry it could kind of tunnel some wind in there. So maybe that's a concern, but I did take the over here personally. Not my highest conviction over of the week, but I do like this one. And I'm okay with the over 48.5 for the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Personally, okay, staying away from the spread with the Chiefs -3. I've got that one again at 4.3. Next game of the weekend is the Giants against the Commanders. Spread right now at FanDuel Sportsbook at 6.5 in favor of the Commanders. Total in this game is 45.5. This is one of the games where I am furthest off market when it comes to the total. Actually, the second biggest deviation for me, because I got this total up at 50.8, and I've got the Commanders favored by 7.6. So no read on the spread for me. But I do like the total in this game. Over 45.5 is -112. That is because the Commanders tend to run a pretty fast pace. Jaden Daniels has been efficient throughout his entire NFL career, one season, but now has a better left tackle in Larry Tunsil and has a better wide receiver too in Deebo Samuel. So you took Jaden Daniels' system and made it better. That Commanders defense, I'm still not super enamored with, which means they should allow some production to a Giants offense I like a bit as well. Russell Wilson is a competent quarterback, which they did not have last year. This receiver group is pretty good 1 through 3 with Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors. I don't mind Theo Johnson either. Tyrone Tracy's pretty good. So frankly, if you were to force me to pick like one total to bet this week, this might be my favorite. So we're trying to pick you totals, trying to just pick off the ones that I think are the best. This one will check that box. So my first conviction bet of the week will be the Giants and the Commanders over 45.5 points. That is -112 right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, not super itchy to take the spread. I got the Commanders by 7.6, so I'll be okay sitting that one out. Next game up is the Panthers and the Jaguars right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Jags favored by 3.5, and the total in this game is at 46.5. I show value in the Panthers money line. That is plus 152 at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's not, again, my highest conviction bet of the week by any means, but I don't hate it. I actually just moved to plus 142, so it seems like someone else likes the Panthers as well. And I think that's fair, given the way that Bryce Young played last year. This Jags defense stinks, so that's a factor as well. And the Panthers defense will stink too. I could say, hey, just bet the over instead. You like overs this week, why not go here? I've actually got the total of 47.1, so just barely above market there. So not going to take the total here. If I were to bet this one, I would say it'd be the Panthers money line, plus 142. Again, it's shortened a bit from where it was when we started this discussion, but still a value for me at that mark, with the Jags being favored by just 1.5 in this game for me. So would consider the Panthers not a super high conviction spot for me, but I am okay with it. And if you want to take the 3.5 instead and just go that way, take the points of the Panthers, I'm also okay with that, given that 3.5 is a pretty big number, given how well Bryce Young played last year and the fact that this Jags defense is definitely not great. Next game up, Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields revenge game. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, the Steelers favored by 2.5, and the total in this game is a 38.5. Shocker, do show value in this over as well. I've got a 41.9, which is actually the lowest total I've got for this week. So at least in line with the market there, is this being the lowest scoring game. The 41.9 is not a low number. It is showing value in the over. Again, because we're being picky, this one's pretty fringe. I've got 3.4 points off of market here. That ranks fourth for me of all totals. I'm going to stick to just my favorite three for right now. So this one was the first one to get lopped off, and I will pass on that total for now. I do show value in the Jets money line. That makes me feel pretty uncomfortable, given that the Jets passing offense looked shaky during the preseason for sure, but a lot of that is due to faith in the Jets running game. I think this offensive line has the potential to dominate. If Armand Membu can be as good as he was billed in the draft, as good as his testing numbers were, as good as a lot of things looked with Membu, this offensive line could be a difference maker for a team that wants to run the football. They're facing the Steelers. No Minkah Fitzpatrick, obviously added Jalen Ramsey instead on defense. I do think the Jets will be able to move the football on the ground against the Steelers team. Just a question of, will it be enough to push this towards the over and get them the win on over 38.5. I've got the Steelers favored by 0.04 points in this game. So very much essentially a toss up. So the plus 120 in the Jets, pretty enticing. I bet it myself, not really recommending it necessarily, not necessarily recommending the over either. Did bet that myself as well, but I think that some concerns on the Jets offense prevent this from being a higher conviction spot for me. So do show value in the Jets, do show value in the over, not leaping to take those. Again, did take them personally, but not necessarily bets I'd recommend for week number one. Next game up is the Raiders and the Patriots. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Patriots favored by 2.5, and the total in this game sits at 43.5. If you heard our win total draft over the offseason that I did with Brandon Gadula, you'll know that I'm lower than consensus in the Patriots. We talked to Ed Feng last week or 2 weeks ago about futures he likes. He liked the Patriots win total under, so probably no surprise. I've got value on the Raiders money line in this game. So I got the Patriots favored by just 0.3, which shows that I have the Raiders as the better team on a neutral field, with this game being in Foxborough. That probably seems odd, but honestly, like, Geno Smith is not a bad quarterback. The infrastructure around him, not that bad either, with Jacoby Myers seemingly still in town, Brock Bowers being there. It's not the worst situation for this Raiders team to have. I don't love it, the fact that I show value in the Raiders here, and frankly, because I've got exposure to the Patriots under, it's not something I'm leaping to take either, but I do show value in the Raiders money line, plus 122. Total, I've got at 43.2, so I'm actually below the market in this game. I think it's because I'm just below on the Patriots offense in general. Kind of want to see it a bit more with them, proving that I just think the skill players still are not that good, despite adding Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams. I'm still very skeptical there, and Drake may need to prove to me he can be a guy who can overcome bad pass catchers. I still think they're a below average group, personally. So I'm okay sitting this one out, both the spread and the total, but do see a bit of value in the Raiders money line, plus 122, no value in the total for me there. Next game up is the Cardinals and the Saints. Obviously not the most enticing game of the week, but it is actually the spot where I am furthest away from market on the total, which probably makes you groan at home as you listen to this, because you're saying, okay, we're betting on the over in a game Spencer Rattler will start. What could possibly go wrong? Over 42.5 is minus 120 at FanDuel Sportsbook. So you are paying quite a bit to get the over 42.5. but I'm well off market here at 48.7 because both these defenses, in my mind, will not be good this year. A lot of losses for the Saints defense this year as they kind of had to do a full reset with all the cap spending that the cap magic they've made over the past couple of years. Not a lot of talent there. Cardinals defense, still not one I'm super enamored with. They've got some pieces, and I think the coaching staff is pretty good, so maybe they do take a leap, but I'm not fully convinced that does happen just yet. And I think this Cardinals offense will be good this year. They were phenomenal running the football last year. The passing offense is also above average in terms of efficiency. That's a pretty good combo. You're putting this game indoors. I think that could lead to some pretty high scoring situations here. So over 42.5 minus 120, you are paying a lot and you are getting exposure to the Spencer Rattler led team. I know that is not super fun, but I do think it's worth it given these two defenses, given what the Cardinals can do. Don't mind if you want to take the Cardinals team total instead. I think that's a very fair approach to take, but I do want to take the over 42.5 minus 120 Cardinals at Saints. What could possibly go wrong there? As far as the spread, I got the Cardinals by 4.5 in this game. Maybe I need to ding the Saints even more for Rattler. I thought I was pretty low on them. I was trying to be pretty low on them, frankly, and I didn't get low enough. This spread is also lengthened. It was 5.5. It's now 6.5. So maybe I need to ding the Saints a bit more, which would actually give the Cardinals offense even better field position, which is part of the reason why I show value in the over here. So it's the situation where maybe I'll reassess this one later on. So no action for me on the spread or the money line for the Saints, but do like the over 42.5 at minus 120. Got the Bengals taking on the Browns at FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Bengals favored by 5.5 this game in Cleveland, and the total is at 47.5. Bengals have tended to start pretty slow in past week ones. Had the loss to the Patriots last year. In general, they have not been a good team in September under Zach Taylor, but they did actually play their guys during the preseason this year. So a change in approach, change in mentality, I think that'll be a good thing for them. With that said, still the Bengals here by 5.2 in this game, so no read from me there. I've got the total at 46.5, so no read from me on that one either. We did see a lot of overs in Joe Flacco games the past couple of years, so maybe Flacco, because they just kind of can't run with him at quarterback, maybe that does lead to a bit of a chaotic game. Open to that for sure, but still respect the Browns defense enough to say I'm going to set this one out both with the spread and the total, so no action for me in Bengals versus Browns. Next game up is the Dolphins and the Colts. And this game made me groan when I pulled up my betting model for week number 1, because I pulled up and just kind of sorted by what's the best value on the board based on my numbers. When I saw the Dolphins at the top of that list, it kind of made me want to yarf because the vibes could not be worse with this team right now. Tyreek Hill is throwing everybody under the bus, kind of sat out most of the preseason with this oblique injury. It sounds like he will play, but it's also definitely not an elite situation. Mike McDaniel's making weird nihilistic quotes. Vibes be bad. So when I see the Dolphins at the top of my list, I'm like, uh-oh, that ain't great by any means. But it's by a pretty wide margin because I have the Dolphins favored by 3.3 points in this game. And the market has them at plus 1.5 and minus 118. Their money line is minus 102. So it's a question of how much are vibes worth. I think they're worth quite a bit because effort matters so much in the NFL. And if a team is not inspired by their leaders, not inspired by their head coach, that could lead to a collapse, a lack of effort, and things like that. And I don't think we'll see that out of the Colts, despite the weird quarterback situation there. But I do still have faith in Tua Tagovailoa being somewhat efficient as a quarterback, and I do not have that faith in the opposing side with Daniel Jones starting for the Colts. So that's why, even though the vibes are as bad as can be with the Dolphins, I am still going to take their money line minus 102 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Maybe it's a situation where we see them play in week 1 and I totally just like dump the priors on them and make them be a below average team, which is what the market is saying that they are right now. Maybe McDaniel gets fired eventually. Maybe the things totally go off the rails. But for week 1 specifically, I don't want to overweight vibes and throw out all the like data behind this situation. The data says I should back the Dolphins, so I will do so, taking the Dolphins money line at minus 102. That's another bet for this week at FanDuel Sportsbook. The total, I have at 45.3, 46.5 at FanDuel Sportsbook, so that's a stay away from me as well. No value there, but we'll take the Dolphins money line at minus 102. Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Bucks are by 2.5 on the road, and the total in this game is at 47.5. I am in line with market. I got the Bucks at minus 2.2, so weirdly, I'm not showing value in the Bucks, which I did basically every week last year. It was value on the Bucks, value against the Falcons quite a bit last year, which went well, frankly. So I kind of thought I'd show value in the Bucks here, but the market is hip to the Bucks for sure. Despite the fact we'll see no Chris Godwin and no Tristan Wirfs in this game, that it is accounted for in the model already. So no play there for me. No play in the total either. 49.5 versus 47.5. Again, that's going to be one of the lower value spots for me as far as an over goes. So with a lot of value elsewhere, I'm okay sitting this one out and enjoying watching my guy Baker Mayfield take on the Falcons on Sunday. Moving out to the afternoon games, first one up is the Titans and the Broncos. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Broncos favored by 7.5, and the total in this game is at 44.5. That Broncos defense could be bananas this year. Do still show value in the over, 44.5 for me, 42.5 at the market. Not going to take that because, again, the systemic issues discussed earlier on, and I think that the market is spot on with the spread here. Broncos minus 7.5 is what I have it at as well. I want to bet on Cam Ward eventually. I do not want to bet Cam Ward week 1. So we'll see you week 2, Cam Ward. Hoping to buy in there. Okay, sitting out for right now. Next game up is the 49ers and the Seahawks. Right now at FanDuel Sportsbook, this spread is the Niners minus 2.5 and the total at 43.5. Honestly, again, kind of similar to the Bucks. I thought I'd show value in the Niners here. Do not really, because I got them at minus 2.4. So in line with market there. I've been lower on the Seahawks in general, higher on the Niners. That's not true for week 1 specifically. So no play for me in the spread. I have a total of 46.9. So that's a pretty good value. And that's going to rank number 5 for me behind the Jets and the Steelers. I mentioned that the Jets and the Steelers was my 4th ranked one. I didn't really want to take it. I'd actually be more inclined to take this one because I do have faith that this Niners offense will kind of spring back. Juwan Jennings back at practice on Monday. That's a good omen for them. Trent Williams is healthy. Christian McCaffrey's healthy. I know the receiver situation is still pretty bad for the Niners, but it's not as bad as it could be elsewhere. So do like the over. 43.5 is at minus 105 right now. Okay with that for sure. Willing to take it. Not my highest conviction total here, but I'm okay with it overall. Really fun game after that is the Lions and the Packers. This game is in Lambeau. Packers with Micah Parsons sounds like likely to play. Packers minus 2.5 is the spread. And the total in this game is at 47.5. I'm showing value in both the Lions money line here and in the over 47.5 at minus 105. I got the Lions favored by 0.3 points, even after the Parsons bump for the Packers. I know there are concerns around no Ben Johnson, no Aaron Glenn for the Lions, no Frank Ragnow for the Lions. It is a big change. It's also Jared Goff outdoors, which we did not see a lot of last year. That's why, even though I show pretty good value in the Lions money line, which is currently at plus 120 at FanDuel Sportsbook, not going to be one of the ones I'm super itchy to grab as of right now. And also why I'm not super itchy to grab the over. I think there are paths where I'm too high in this Lions offense, and I want to be cognizant of that, especially in week 1, where I show value a lot of other places. I'm okay kind of sitting this one out for now. So if you were to bet this game, my favorite spots would be the over 47.5 at minus 105 or the Lions money line at plus 120. Do like the Packers quite a bit. Excited to watch them play this year, but I think this is not the team I want to bet them against. So kind of similar to the Eagles and Cowboys, do see some value in some spots, but would rather just kind of watch this game and enjoy it than actually act upon it as things stand right now. Got the Texans going on the road, take on the Rams right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Rams favored by 3 points here. Total in this game is at 44.5. Got the spread a bit tighter. I like this Texans defense a lot. So I had the Rams favored by 1.3. Total in this game is at 47.1 points. So some value in the over. I really don't mind the Texans money line at plus 124. I don't mind. I don't hate the plus 3 either. If I look at their money line for me, I'm trying to find where I have the Texans right now. Yeah, I've got them at, actually, I'm pretty much in line with the market with them. So I'd probably stay away from me. I've got the Texans at 44.6% to win. So it's another spot where not seeing a lot of values. A lean towards the over. But again, the Matthew Stafford situation is kind of weird there. He's going to play, but is he 100%? So probably a stay away from me. I'm okay sitting out the Rams and Texans, despite showing value in the over there. Sunday night game is a thriller. That is the Ravens and the Bills right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's effectively a pick'em because both teams are minus 108 in the money line. Technically, the Bills are minus 1.5 at even money, so they are kind of the favorite. Total in this game is at 50.5. I do show a bit of value in the Bills. Their money line at -108. It's pretty slim value though, so I think it's not a situation where I'd rather just bet the over and enjoy that. And that is a good value for me, the over in this game. Actually, my third best value in far of an over for this week is in this game. I've got the total at 54.4 points here. Over 50.5 is -115. These two offenses are disgusting. They have not lost a lot of pieces on offense in the offseason. So good continuity along the offensive line, good continuity as far as play callers go, as far as quarterbacks go, pass catchers, etc. Not as much for the Bills, but like overall, these are the same offenses that we saw last year, and these offenses were absurd. Now, the Ravens defense was very good, especially down the stretch, so that could be a reason why you don't want to back the over, but we've seen supernova quarterbacks able to overcome elite defenses. That's why I do think there is value in the over for this game. Betting the over also allows me to just enjoy every crazy, absurd, silly thing that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson do. So from like an entertainment perspective, the over is a fun way to go. I see value in it based on my model. So I will take the over 50.5 -115 for the Bills and the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, which should be a spectacular start to the year. Monday night game, final game of week number 1 is the Vikings and the Bears. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Vikings 1.5-point favorites. Total in this game is 44.5. Another game where I expected to show value in one side and did not. I thought I'd show value in the Vikings because I had them favored by 1. That's right where the market is. So no value there. I kind of thought I would because I value infrastructure at quarterback a lot. I am below market on the Bears as a whole for this year. So I thought that would translate to week 1. It very much did not. So no play for me on the spread or the money line. I have a total of 42.9. So actually, if you were to bet an under this week, this would be my favorite. It's the one where I'm furthest off, but under 44.5 is -118. That's too much for me to pay to back and under where I'm not seeing a ton of value on it. So, okay, sitting this one out, no value for me for Vikings versus Bears. Markets may change though as the week goes along. So we'll have a full Monday Night Football preview coming your way on Monday of next week, breaking down my thoughts on this game. We'll talk about that anytime touchdown model I built out, see if there's any value there, but should be a fun one. No play for me as of right now for the Vikings and the Bears. That's it. All 16 games across week number 1. Again, to recap the bets I like the Commanders and Giants over 45.5, taking the Cardinals at Saints over 42.5 at -120, Dolphins and Colts taking the Dolphins money line at -102, and also riding with the over for Bills versus Ravens over 50.5 for at -115 for that game. Those are the bets I'm willing to fire on as of right now. We'll talk more about NFL Week 1 spreads and totals on Thursday in the full NFL Week 1 betting preview. That is all that we have here for today, though. Again, killer week lined up here on Covering the Spread. NFL week or college football week 2 tomorrow. NFL Week 1 breakdown Thursday. NFL player props Friday. Gonna be a really fun week. So again, to get all these shows as they're posted, subscribe to the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page, but also check us out on the Covering the Spread podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. If you've got any questions for me, I am on X and Blue Sky at JimSannes. I am on Threads at Jim.Sannes, and you can follow FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work on the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you with your NFL Week 1 bets. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow to break down Week 2 in college football. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.